For you as a production designer, what is it that sets The Good Dinosaur apart from the other films that Pixar has made and that you've worked on here?
Mm-hmm.
Because there is so much here that is visually new that we haven't seen before.
Oh, uh-huh. Well, that's great. I mean, you're part of the first audience that has been experiencing it, and so I'm excited to hear your reaction. And I think, I mean, the scale of the sets is one thing, which doesn't really explain the look, but these are much bigger sets than I've ever worked on, where we were dealing with areas terrain that is often 50 miles or 100 miles in diameter. So we're sculpting mountain ranges and using USGS satellite data for creating erosion patterns. But really the look of the film, you know, I think is really influenced by just great landscape paintings. Mm-hmm. And our collaboration with Sharon Callahan, who's the DP, you know, she's really guided the art department in this case in an unusual way, creating the look. She's a great landscape painter herself, so I really have learned a lot from Sharon on this. You know, the landscapes in The Good Dinosaur, I've heard them described as hyper real or very realistic, and you know, they are very detailed in a certain way, but they're also idealized in a way, the same way I think a landscape painter would simplify the massing of the trees on the hillside, the snow patterns on the mountaintops, composing each frame like a great landscape painter would. Sharon's really helped us kind of get in that mindset, and each of the designers, the set designers, have adopted that and grown that in a really interesting way on this film. So that whole approach has been very different. You know, I worked with Sharon on Ratatouille, where we're designing Paris, and in that case we're designing, you know, parts of the city and 5-block areas, but nothing really as immense as this, and nothing that really connects with the natural environment as deeply as The Great Dinosaur.
Mm-hmm. Did her paintings help infuse your color palette?
Yes, yeah. So she worked with us very closely as we were developing the colors of the forest. There's a seasonal transition through the film from spring till fall, and she had the idea of, well, let's save the glorious aspen golden fall that you see in Jackson Valley and in our farm valley to the end of the film. It'll resonate the most with the audience, and you know, make spring really magical in the beginning of the film, and then use the summer and early fall as some of the most rugged environments in the mountains when Arlo is swept away. So we were really paying attention to what Sharon was saying all the way along, both in the set designs and in the character shader colors, coloring. That's interesting that you picked up on that, because there was a real back and forth as we were designing the coloring of Arlo, and then getting into Spot. Pete suggested, well, let's try green eyes. We actually tried blue eyes. Arlo used to be blue-eyed, and so there was this design development on both of them as far as their color look that happened until it kind of clicked into place. And you know, I think that's one of the reasons is that there are colors in Spot's eyes that relate to Arlo, and same way with Arlo's eyes. They're kind of a inverted reflection of each other. Well, and we had to make sure that the characters, that you could pick them out of the landscape too. So some of the set design coloring was based around trying to get Spot to show up. Arlo is he's such a vivid green that actually helped us lead the audience's eye and focus the frame so that we could make sure that the audience was looking where we wanted to look. Because sometimes Arlo is just like a tiny figure in this immense landscape. Bryn Imagiri, our shader art director, spec'd out colors based on photo references. We had a very specific look that we worked with Sharon on. That whole effect is very affected by lighting. But we designed the dry rock look as well as the wet rock look, and then the refraction through the water though is all a lighting effects collaboration. So several different teams came together on that look. I'm really excited. There's a magical thing that happens that it's kind of like the best nature cinematography. You know, we were looking at films like Never Cry Wolf and Black Stallion, Carol Ballard films where nature was really featured in those films in an exquisite way, and we were trying to capture that feeling in our film. And really, I think some of that attempt is kind of the first time a CG animated feature has really tried something like that. John Lasseter's kind of marching orders for the art department is always to create a believable world, and that means being authentic, not necessarily realistic always, but where you feel the danger, you feel like that character really exists in that world, and that if you kept going, it would be infinite. That you would it's all of one piece, and that you've created a really whole world of characters and settings that go together. Well, I really like the setting, and I love the scene too. For the setting for the sequence we call it Orphan Spot, where Spot and Arlo are together under this big overhang arch rock, and the moonlight is reflecting in the water. It's such an emotionally charged film where Spot and Arlo are sharing their stories of loss, that the fact that they're separated from their families, or their families are dead in Spot's case, and that it's such a touching film. It's really the first time Spot has communicated on a really human level in relation to Arlo. And that set, we were trying to express this sort of sense of yearning, this broken arch. There's a kind of tension between the 2 points that in my mind feels like it supports the sense of yearning in the characters for home and family.
So now you've been here 19 years. So
yeah.
What is the greatest gift that Pixar gives you?
By far, it's getting the chance to work with artists that are so talented, at the same time so nice. Yeah, it's hard to describe, and to get to be part of the sort of Pixar frisson, the kind of spark that happens of putting two artists together and seeing them create something that they could never do on their own. And when those sparks are kind of happening in the art department, it's really exciting. It's challenging here. It can be stressful here because we're all trying our best, but there can be changes in story and tight deadlines. But it's really working with this group of people that make it a real joy for me. That I feel lucky to be here.